All right, we're live here. This is the Sharp Money Office Hours. This is our fifth webinar here. Today we have myself closing dime, Math wins, and Jace plays. No Sigma tonight. He's got bigger plans than meeting with us. Today's topic is going to be about when to place a bet. When is the best and worst time to be placing a bet? Jeff's going to walk us through that in a minute. Then we're going to play. It's a game that we've been playing the last couple of weeks. But we renamed it, rebranded it. We got a nice little presentation for you. Hopefully, we won't butcher it, but we're naming it Bet It or Forget It. And that's where you guys analyze our plus EV charts. You guys tell us whether you would bet it or forget it. And if you agree with the majority of the owners, you're going to win one free week. And we're giving up to 4 free weeks away each Thursday night stream. If you get an answer right, you get to keep going. If not, I think we're going to pull someone else on screen. So feel free to ask questions. And at the end of the stream, any questions we did not get to, we'll have time to answer those. And if you want to hop on the panel and talk as well, you're more than welcome to do that at the end of the stream. So I'll hand it over to Jeff now to talk about kind of bet timing.
Yeah, before we hop into that, Robbie, let's just take a second. And I know we've got a lot of new members, and I just kind of want to talk about our bot results from maybe the last week and month. So I don't know if you and Jordan have the ability to pull up your pickets, but I think it's just good as a nice little reflection because I know positive EV betting, sometimes we get really hot, sometimes we get really cold. I think it's always good for us to be transparent on how we've done the last week and month. So I'll go ahead and start. I'll fire it off. But this week has been a lot lower volume for me than normal just because I am back at my career job during the day now. But if I look at my sharp money tag, and this is props and main lines included, I will say I play far more main lines than props. But the last week, I've been pretty break even at a 1.5% ROI over 110 bets. But over the last month, I'm up 18 units at a 7% ROI across almost 1,000 bets. So still trending pretty strong. I know we've talked about in chat and in the past, it's like the bot doesn't like if you just unload on everything the bot spits out there, long term, you have a chance to still be profitable, in my opinion. But you're just going to experience much more ups and downs and variance. So I think graph selection and the part of the reason we do these office hours is to just give you guys our input on graphs. But I think graph selection is really the key to being an extremely profitable bettor using the tools that Sharp Money offers.
Yeah, that's well said there. My Sharp Money main bot tag is by far my best looking tag. Can you see my screen right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it.
So like I've had I think I went through I did go through like a 3 month stretch of break even from like March to or maybe that's not even 3 months. So literally like a month of break even, but everything else has been so good, like 5% ROI on 3,600 bets this year. This month we're only talking about 110 plays or so, 120 plays, but 16% ROI, 80% CLV beat. And I have a bunch of tennis plays today that all did really well. An all-time bot for me is 45K with a 4.27% ROI on almost 10,000 bets and
What have you been the last week, Robbie?
23% ROI.
23, damn.
Yeah,
So I mean,
it's
but I
been
think this is good to look at because I know, with our daily win loss and our winners section, we get a lot of people just always posting good days, and we do have guys that post bad days too, but I think it's just reassuring like you're running a 23% ROI right now. I'm running a 1%. Like just because somebody else who uses the same product is going off doesn't mean you're necessarily doing something wrong. It's just you just got to consistently put yourself on really good plays and everything will work itself out.
Yeah, because if we look into my bot props, they're not as juicy as y'all. I am sitting at a 4.8 units with 550 bets at a 3.4%. My units is so low because I am limited on props and I decided to go pretty prop heavy the last month. I saw a lot of chatter in the Discord, so I decided to get more volume through the props. 520 bets over the last month is actually pretty high for me. Usually I'm in the 300 range with probably 80% main lines, but this month I decided to dial in on the props. I have been on a downslide for the last 14 days though, with only like 3 green days. So I'm shaking back a little bit. On the 1 week, I'm down 4% on 70 bets, but on the 1 month, I think I'm sitting fair, 3.5%. I expect that. I think both of y'all are kind of running a little extended and might have some regression soon, honestly.
Yeah, 23% for me is kind of wild, but over.
Hey, buddy, you keep your comments to yourself. Don't put that on me.
Yeah, don't curse us like that. He's
I'm
coming
a
at.
little jealous.
You know what, Jordan? I think you're due for some positive regression, so fuck you too.
I think so too because I'm 1% on the year. So
Yeah, that'll come up.
All right. So the topic we wanted to talk with you guys about tonight is when to place a bet. Like timing is just as important in my opinion as line movement and edge when you place a bet. Because just because edge and line movement look good, depending on the time of day when you're placing a bet, it could be like a false sense of security, or it could be a really, really good thing in your favor. So I want to start with openers when a book first opens a line. And openers to me are really, really good opportunities for originators to get down on bad lines. If you look at like even the sharpest books, Bookmaker, Pinnacle, Circa usually opens after the Bookmaker and Pinnacle, but let's just talk Pinnacle because they typically open first. They're going to put something in the ballpark of where the fair value falls most of the time, but they're so dependent on the market setting their line that I don't trust Pinnacle openers to bet top down. Like if I show a little bit of edge on a rec book to a Pinnacle opener, I don't think it's necessarily the best time to fire because there isn't a lot of liquidity that shaped that line to its true price yet. So for me personally, I would only bet openers if I was originating something. Robbie, Jordan, I don't know if you guys have a different take on that, but that's just the way that I play it in terms of betting openers.
Yeah, I do have a little bit of a different take. The market and sport depend is very important to me. When it comes to soccer or tennis, a pinnacle opener typically does very well for me. I think, like you said, Pinnacle moves their market based on a lot of, the information they get, but they set very accurate openers for soccer and tennis better than probably the rest of the market does, and they also move better, but their openers are typically very good. On the other side of that, I would say for football, for NFL, when Circa opens up Sunday night, typically after the games are over, they open up some lines. And last year, I crushed closing line when Circa opened their lines and found edges as well. So different, like I said, if Pinnacle opens up value for an MLB line, not touching it. That's just their markets will shape up well, but their openers are just not good. Um, so that's kind of my stance there. Really, yeah, even college football is good for Circa, I think. So like NFL and college football I'll use Circa openers, and then mostly soccer and tennis for as Pinnacle openers. I like those, but the rest of the markets definitely probably avoiding unless you're originating some type of line.
yeah, I'm
Jordan,
right
any
there.
thoughts on openers?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Robbie. I know you said math. Do you actually take tennis openers or soccer openers or no?
I like to see some type of movement that
Okay.
agrees with first. So a fresh, brand new opener, I will not. If we get a little bit of market assurance that the the right side is one way or another, then I'll take them.
Yeah, I know it gets so questionable, and this is something that we covered in the first office hours, but just with the limits being so low in those two sports for openers, it can be a little bit worrisome. But yeah, for tennis and soccer, I think those two are perfect to take on pinnacle openers. But I agree with y'all for football, MLB, and NBA. I am not going to touch pinnacle and pinnacle in an opener if it's for a main line. But I will do Circa, and I also will take Bookmaker, but usually Circa is the first one to post, and I think they usually move towards Circa.
We do have a question in the chat here, which might lead into your next topic anyway, Jeff. But do you ever see any opportunities very early hours of the morning, or let's even say midnight? So those might be kind of considered openers, but it depends on the sport too. Like tennis. sometimes those matches are starting, it's a tournament, so they're playing every single day. And sometimes those matches start at like 6 a.m. So the openers are at midnight, but they're actually not that far away from the game. So like I see a ton of value on tennis at like 3 in the morning. Like my phone will start lighting up and I'll go take a piss out at like five different tennis plays because Pinnacle just opened them all up. So like very
Well, I'd
early
argue
hours.
that those are the same time as main sport openers, but those aren't really openers. Those are a couple hours before match starts.
Well, because the matches just ended like the night before, and then I think they take a minute to like say it's a noontime game, like the openers will literally come out like that morning at like 3 a.m. whenever they figure out the matchups and obviously get a price together. So
But you
like
don't play back-to-back days on tennis. You've got days of rest in
okay,
between.
no, you're right. So a lot of the openers at 3 in the morning are for actually the following day. So it's really almost 2 days ahead. But I've been playing those and doing well also. So that was probably a misleading question or answer. The
Um,
question was fine.
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. So Steve, to take it from a like let's just take baseball for example, what's going on right now. From the time, like let's say your midnight play, baseball lines typically probably open relatively soon to when the games start. So like when the games are going right now, the MLB openers will probably be open within the next couple hours for tomorrow's games. Um, from now until like midnight when you're talking, there's no limit increase. So I don't really find a ton of value in playing those lines from now until, and this is going to kind of lead into our next kind of category, which is early morning. And I was talking more like 3, 4, 5 a.m., but midnight falls into the same category. Uh, until you get that first limit increase, this is where you're going to see the opportunity for people to drive lines and try and shape lines in a way that is going to be more advantageous for them to get down later. And our next comment also talks about um, like upper circuit management, talking about how they don't care that much about their opening number, just to book action early to trust the opener. A lot of these sharp books that shape their lines based on the money that they take because they increase their limits throughout the day, they're willing to take action on a bad line to shape it early because they're taking 5% of what their closing limits are going to be. So they could take five max bets early in the day or at their early limit increases to shape their line because they know later in the day their limits are going to be 4 or 5 times that and they're going to take way more handle at the higher limits than they are necessarily at those early limits. So back to your question, Steve, like would I play early morning? The first time I'm looking to attack a line is the first limit increase, but it has to be a significant move. So if I'm a big betting group, I'm trying to get down the most amount of money possible at the best line I can get. If I think a line is bordering on where the value is at, I may try and hit that at the first move, but I'm going to hit it to a point where this book knows it's sharp action and it's going to drive the line. You're talking like I'm looking for a 10-cent move in those early limit increases. In those early limit increases, if I'm only seeing 2, 3, 4 cents, that's not as reassuring to me that it's not a fake out. Like there's groups out there that try to drive lines one way, so when the limits increase later, they can drive them back. So first and second limit increases early in the day, I'm looking for big moves like 10 cents plus.
We get Alex raising his hand here. Should we let him on or save him to the end?
No, bring them up. It's as long as it's what we're talking about.
Yeah, if it's close. Do I add him? Hold on. I got him. Allow him to talk. All right, Alex, are you there? We've had people accidentally click
Fa-
this button before,
Fake
so
out.
it could be a fake out. All right, we're
How
moving
about
on.
Robbie Jordan? Any opinions on early morning before that first limit increase, or are you guys waiting for limits to start moving around before you start firing on bets?
Yeah, so early morning for me, I'm also looking for decent movement in one direction, probably close to at least above 5 cents, probably closer to 10 cents. Just because I know those morning numbers are not shaped up that well, I want to see the market moving pretty well in one direction before I play it. With the exception of WNBA. I'm not touching WNBA until right before tip or if Math wins tells me to bet it. So besides that, I don't like because WNBA you get head faked all the time, especially early in the morning. That's prime time head fake. When it comes to the bigger markets, even though the limits are sometimes low in the morning, I don't think head fakes play that big of a role. I think if you're seeing action, it's typically for a reason. And if the line snaps against you, maybe it was some assumptions of an injury that didn't happen, or maybe it was weather news that kind of reversed on you. So I don't think you should be trying to avoid like early action in the morning on
So
bigger
I will
sports.
say, I will say, I agree with you, except if the action comes at a significant amount of time after the limit increase. So let's say you get that first limit increase. If there's action right away when that limit increases, I love it,
Mhm.
especially if it's in that 10-cent range. If like let's say an hour's gone by and then we start to see market movement, not like at the immediate limit increase, then I'm way more hesitant when I read a graph. Like
I
those,
get
like,
makes logical sense. Like the group
yeah,
I
like
did
to
it at the limit
me,
increase if they had that number, good to go.
exactly. So like to me, if I've got the amount of money that I'm trying to get down and I can't like as soon as that limit increases and I like that price, why wouldn't I just hammer it then? Why would I wait and not wait for the next limit increase, but just wait an hour and a half later? Like that just doesn't make sense to me if it's really truly a sharp edge that's getting down.
Yeah, no, I get that. The only other reason a line would move like that is news breaks, but you're not getting news like that really in the morning for baseball. So
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you guys. So I wake up pretty early, like 4 a.m. Central. So the first thing I do is check my phone for bets. And yeah, I'm looking for 10 cents of movement. And it also plays a part to whenever the games go. So on certain days, MLB has day games. So on those mornings, you will notice more volume and more movement. And those are the mornings that I try to attack a little bit harder. Not sure if other people in the Discord are paying attention to that, but in the mornings you definitely can get a very good edge on the day games, and the day games have been very well. So that is a spot that I like to target. It's always the late games that get me, honestly, and sometimes I wonder if I'm taking the bets for the late games too early, and
mm,
that is kind of what's burning me because whenever I take the day games closer to the day game time, I do well. Of course, we get more information closer to game time, but with MLB, there's not really too much more information other than a few hitters changing. So I don't think we really will see big swings like that closer to game time, which sometimes we can, but I think it's best to catch it between in the 6 o'clock central to around 11 a.m. central. I think that is my favorite time to look for
Well,
bets.
yeah, Jordan, you're talking about those early, like the 1 o'clock Eastern games. You're also talking about time frame of limits here. Like the time that you're talking about hitting those plays for a 1 o'clock start, the limits are already at three quarters to full limits by the time you're playing that movement. So that's the same thing as playing a 7 o'clock first pitch at, 5 p.m. when the limits are really high. The limits just go up faster on those afternoon games.
yeah, it's really how many hours out you're playing means the most, more than the morning.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of throughout the day, actually we had Steve asked, do you see any other sports with early head fakes similar to what happens in the NBA? Yeah, you see it in every sport, Steve, and this is why limits are so important. We'll see it with MLB. You'll see a line start to drift one way, then as soon as the limits increase later in the day, it'll get slammed the other way. That's why it's really important and why I focus on playing the movement exactly when the limits start to increase. And I think that's a good rule of thumb to play all the way up until you're looking at like the second to last and the last limit increase. So you're talking about for baseball, you're talking I think for spreads they'll get to 7,500 and sometimes 10,000. Like when it starts getting that high, you're not going to see many of those head fakes because there's no limit after that they're going to be able to get down on. So the earlier the lower the limits, and this is why it's really important as a sports bettor to kind of understand when you're betting, looking at limit increases, what the maximum limit is for a sport and a market. Like Robbie was talking about WNBA earlier. WNBA caps out at about 3,000. MLB's at 3,000 by 8 a.m. So it's like they're just two very like a $3,000 limit move on a WNBA line. You should be a lot more confident in because there is no limit increase after that. Like people who get down at $3,000 are getting down because that's their edge. They're not setting something up later. Somebody who gets down at a $3,000 limit on MLB could be setting something up later because the limits are going to get to $7,000 to $10,000. So really doing some education on what limits are in each sport and market because limits for totals are also different than limits for spreads in MLB. So there's just a lot of moving parts that go into this when you're trying to bet looking at limit increases across different sports and markets.
Yeah, and it just comes with time. Like you'll once you start placing a bunch of, MLB money line bets before game time, you'll see they're at 15, 20K. Totals might be 5 to 10K, but you just start noticing it, especially if you're thinking about it the way that Jeff just told you to think about it. I think you'll start picking up on, where each market for each sport gets to with their limits. It's really important to kind of, yeah, know how much room you got left to move before the max limit there.
Then the last time, so like throughout, so we kind of go on openers, and then we've kind of gone throughout the series of limit increases. And then the last time that you can really bet is at max limits. And when you're talking about max limits, you don't have to worry about fakes because there's no limit increase. You see some good movement at max limits, you should feel pretty good about your bet. So you're talking the last 90-ish minutes before game time. Typically, any big type of movement in this time frame is going to be some sort of either a group has waited to the last second to cover closing line value, or there's some late kind of news that is forcing a line to move.
The other thing with timing, kind of more of a broad overview of it, is if you're betting openers and bets that are hours and hours away of the game, you do have the opportunity to secure massive edge because the market hasn't shaped up at all. But that also goes the other way where you could be up 10% EV if you're playing morning plays, or you could be down 10% EV. If you're playing on the last limit increase, that market is pretty much already shaped up and that line is probably only going to move 1 or 2% in either direction. So your value might be tighter, but you can be more confident in that edge closer to game time. Like you're not going to find a 10% EV play right before a game tips off at $20,000 limits, but you could easily find the same play for that league or that event early in the morning. But it could go either way on you. So that's another way to look at it is just you bet early, you're opening yourself up to the movement of the market going with you or against you, and it's harder to predict then. So you could secure more value, but if you wait till game time, you can be more confident with a smaller edge.
It's a really good point that the closer you get, the smaller edges probably hold more value than earlier in the day.
Mhm.
The last thing I want to talk about in terms of when to bet is, especially with us getting into football season, how this is different for a sport that plays every day, like basketball and baseball, compared to a sport that plays once a week, like football. So, for football, and we're talking, college football, NFL, the I have found that the best days of the week to bet, we'll just say, I guess it doesn't really matter because both are very similar, but the first half of the week. So you're talking like I would say typically like Tuesday, Wednesday-ish, sometimes Monday, or you're going to see the limit increases. But I'm really done betting football by the time Friday, Saturday, Sunday roll around. Like as soon as we get a day or two before game time, with the amount of money that goes into especially NFL lines, those lines are pretty shaped up by the time Saturday rolls around. Like if you're betting into a Sunday NFL main line, a spread or a total, you're probably paying VIG no matter what. Like it's really hard to find an edge that escapes the VIG on Sundays in an NFL game. So earlier in the week is better, but now that we have our limits, I would really pay attention to limit increases as you bet because it is pretty easy to get faked out on a Monday afternoon for football lines if you're not betting the limit increases.
I think good. So talking about football a little bit too is good times to bet. Like I said, openers like Circa and stuff, and then you're going to get good line movement during the week when they start practicing and there's questionable players, whether they're, they got a boot on or if they're on the sidelines. That's when you make your plays for the weekend is midweek when, lines are moving. By the time you get to the weekend, it's a lot harder to actually find value, just like Jeff was saying there.
I just wanted to say, I know we do a lot of top-down betting, so you usually don't have to check any game stats. But I think for NFL and NBA, it is pretty important to check out maybe team injuries for these two sports specifically, as you mentioned, if we have a QB who's questionable on a Wednesday, the line is going to be much more favorable. And we find out he's out Thursday, the line is going to have drastic movement one way or another. And same thing with NBA. NBA players are always questionable. So for NBA personally, I like to wait closer to game time for main lines, props, and everything, just because there's so much that could change so quick. And I know line movement can be in your favor, but if somebody is injured and they get announced, the line movement can easily go against you no matter what the money says.
So good question from Ogs here. He kind of asks essentially, I'll just um, summarize it. Why would somebody wait until max limits to bet? And the reason is um, it's for sure a sharp group who's originating, who's trying to cover their CLV. So they don't necessarily want to get closing line value because they're waiting till just before game time. So you'll see really, really sharp groups wait till the last second to bet. They know they have an edge all day, but the market hasn't moved in a way that they believe that that value is going to dissipate before game time. So they wait just before game time to try and not get closing line value because they believe in their numbers so much.
Yeah, so this question is saying like if the limit maxed out, why would someone wait like an hour to get down that huge bet and move the line? That's not
Because
what
they're
we're,
trying to bet right before game time so they
yeah,
don't
just
get closing line value.
yeah, I got you. Especially, or if the market was like slightly moving in favor of them and they were going to get even more edge by waiting, they could do that too. But yeah, not showing their CLV is,
It's for account health. They're
yeah,
trying to save accounts and bet late to not get they're honestly not trying to move that line. But maybe their account's already been identified by the by Pinnacle or by Circa, by whoever they're betting into as sharp action. Um, but that's why they're waiting till just before game time.
yeah, it's a good answer. All right, does that
Is it
wrap up?
time, Robbie?
It is time. All right, let me share my screen. You're
I
picking
random the
people again.
order. I've
Okay.
got I've got our order right here. So I will let's see. I guess I have to make sure these people are actually in here. I hope that people are in here by they're probably not even in here by their Discord names. Uh is Pengfu Pengfu in here to play Bet It or Forget It? That was our first random person. If you are in here, go ahead, raise your hand and we'll bring you up on stage.
I don't see
If
Thankful
I
actually.
don't I don't see her either. What about Jim Shu? We got Jim Shu in here? No Jim Shu. I did see this name earlier. Money Dish is
Yeah,
going to be our first contestant in Bet It or Forget It.
nice.
Let's go, money.
All right, you're up here. You're on the panel. How's it going, man?
Hello. Hey guys.
Hey, how you doing today?
Good, thanks. Happy to be here.
So you understand the game? Have you seen the last couple we've done, or
I did, yeah, I watched
okay,
last week, thanks.
cool. Are you
So
you're a
so we're
new member,
gonna
right? I think I
I
just
am,
see.
yeah.
Yes. How long you been in the Sharp Money Discord?
Since like mid-July, like right when you guys started running that incredible promo.
Nice, nice. Well, glad to join.
perfect.
All
So
right.
Money, one little twist for you tonight. So we're gonna go one graph by one graph again. If you, and I don't know if we had a single person match the owners last week, but if you do match us, we are going to
I'm with
give
it.
you the opportunity to walk away with your 1 week or push your luck, and every graph you get right will be worth 1 week. So we've got a total of 4 graphs. If you were to push your luck all the way to the end and get all 4 correct, you would walk away with a free month. If you choose to continue to push your luck and you miss, you get nothing.
Got it. All right, let's
All
do it.
right. All right. So this is a little presentation. You already explained a little bit about how to play. We're gonna put up the bet and the graph. You're gonna analyze it. You're gonna say bet it or forget it. And then if you agree with the majority of the owners, you will win a free week. And then you're able to either risk that and go for two or three or four or whatever you want to do. So one correct answer will equal a free week. All right, so let's get
We
into
do have Sigma's answers on here too. So there are
yeah.
4 owners' answers, even though he wasn't able to join us tonight.
So here is the play. I'll read it out loud for you so you can think about it for a second. But this is a MLS game, it looks like. If I don't know my MLS too well, but we got the sports book is FanDuel under 2.5 goals at 144. It's a 2.5% EV play to Pinnacle. Pinnacle is at $275 limits. And it looks like this chart's a little deceiving. I want to point that out. It's from 9:53 to 10. So it's pretty much an opener. They opened at 133 and dropped to 126. So what are your thoughts here?
Forget it. Definitely.
Forget it. You want to elaborate or just send it?
I guess I would say because yeah, it's an opener and hasn't dropped too much and the limits are super low. EV is kind of low, like I don't take anything under 3. So yeah, definitely forget it for me personally.
All right, let's see the answers here. So the check is obviously we would play it. The X is we would not. So we'll start. First one, Mathwin said he'll play it. Do you want to explain your answer at all, Jeff?
Yeah, so for me, we just talked about openers are a good opportunity for originators to get down. The reason I'm playing this, and the only reason I'm playing this, is this line has been out for 8 minutes and it's already moved 6 cents. So if you are originating, you want to get down on openers because you believe it's a mispriced line. If this opens and I'm originating MLS and I believe that this under is really good, I'm slamming it right away, and if that line's moving 6 cents in 8 minutes, I have a feeling that it's probably somebody who knows what they're doing and betting this one into, or they're betting the under because they know something.
It would be a little
If
extra
this
work.
if this was a real quick, Robbie,
Yep.
if this was a 90-minute stretch and we had seen 6 cents of movement, I'm forgetting it. But because it is 8 minutes after it opens, that's why I'm playing it.
We should try to track the CLV on these and see where they actually close in the future. But all right, we'll move on to the second vote here. So Math wins went yes. I also went yes. Jay went yes, and Sigmund all went yes. I think we're
Crushing
all
it.
gonna have the same explanation there. And I'll say the one thing with this game is, like you said, you don't bet under 3%. And I think we do try to teach our members that sometimes the best plays are in the 1% range. But it's your own criteria, right? If you're not betting under 3%, like that's your choice, and that's not like a bad decision. But I think so. This game is predicting what the owners would play, so you almost have to think about it through our perspective. And so I see why you wouldn't play it, but I agree with Jeff on, the reason I took it as well is
Yeah.
an opener and a quick little movement, and it's soccer. It's a market that I do trust openers in.
Same here. I just wanted to say real quick that that bet was on FanDuel, and I have done exceptionally well on FanDuel for soccer. That is easily the my favorite book to take any soccer bet on.
All right, so we're gonna pull another contestant.
Yeah, I'm looking through the list here. I will call out these names, but I do not see them unless they're listed in here under a different name. But our next opportunities were D Valor, Let's Go Squall, Riley Nader. I don't see any of them in here unless you're under a different name. If they are not in here, that brings us to Robert's Bets, which we have a Robert in here, so I'm hoping that's Robert's Bets.
Yeah,
There we go.
Roberts Betts is the one with the sweet Sharp Money background logo.
Thank you, Money.
And he's got a sweet name. Let's
What's
go
up,
to the
fellas? Hey,
so re has anyone
No,
ever gotten
nobody's
one of these?
nobody's made it past one. No, Robert's gonna be the first. I got faith
Okay.
here.
Good
All right.
luck.
all right.
All right. forget it. We got the Blue Jays against us. This one's on ESPN. It's a total
Oh,
7.5 runs
Jesus.
at plus 120. Uh, for EV is close to 3%. Pinnacle limits are high. Weird looking chart here. We got 7 a.m. to looks like 2 o'clock about, with some movement all over the place. Would you bet it or forget it? It's on you, Rabbit.
All right.
You can think about it for a second.
Okay, I'm gonna think
Or
about this
talk.
for a sec.
You can think out loud.
Oh, okay.
You're getting some thumbs up flashing down here at the bottom.
Yeah, I am.
People are
Yeah, I
trying
am.
to.
Oh man.
They could be leading you astray because they want to play. You never know.
You know what? I'd probably bet it. Looking at the time, how it just dropped
So
from
it's a
yeah.
good call.
Oh
It is
yeah.
right before game time. The game's at 2.
Right.
I didn't point that out.
Yep. Yeah, I would bet this one.
All right. That's it is a bet. Let's see. Let's see the answers
Looks like
here.
the comments agreeing. Let's see.
A lot of thumbs up. Math wins with a yes. We'll move on to we'll go down the list. Jay, we'll let
Yeah.
you explain why you took this as a yes. I'll go back.
Yeah, let me see this. Dang, why did I take this bet? Nah,
Oh
nah,
God.
I'm just messing. Nah, this is a bet. ESPN is exceptionally soft. Same thing with FanDuel, but ESPN is weak in every single market. This is 2.8%, and I I will play a 1% edge with 10 cents of movement, so 2.8% edge, and we still get about 9 cents of movement here. The limits are just walking up, and of course we see this big drop from Pinnacle, but if I just ignore that, the overall trend of the graph is steadily down while the limits are steadily up. So I think this one was just an easy take, and I think we actually see it drop maybe a little more after a 10,000 limit.
All right, I like the explanation there. This is another clean sweep. We got all 4 owners on the yes. So Robert, if you want to risk another week and see another chart,
Oh
that's
yeah, let's go.
all right. You ready to risk
Hey,
it?
First one, good job.
Robbie, head back to that one real quick. I just want to make
Yep.
one more point on this one. So in this one, you do see this one kind of all over the place, but the fact that this is at max limits, I'm really only concerned with the movement once it's gotten to max limits. So I don't even really care that it touched it was all the way up at 118 or was all the way down at 101 early in the day at those lower limits because people could have just been manipulating markets. Like I'm just really concerned with the movement or the graph since we've gone to $7,500 limits here.
Yeah, the last limit increase is the most important. What's the market doing at the full limits? It's definitely the way I view it too. And this random drop and up and down, like Jay said, I pretty much ignored that. It doesn't really make sense to me that the line went up and down to the same spot. And then if you look at the overall picture, we opened at like 116, we moved down to 107 or whatever it is. So overall looks good besides that weird drop. All right. So Robert is risking the 1 free week to try to get 2. And I don't think we all agree with each other anymore going forward. So, all right, bet it or forget it. We have Arizona Diamondbacks versus the Padres. This is 8 o'clock game. This ping is at 10 a.m. So early morning ping. Padres minus 1.5 for plus 135. Small EV at 1.75%. You do have 3 sharp books, Pinnacle, Circa, and Bookmaker all factored in here. And you do have a recent limit increase by Pinnacle from 2,500 to 5,000.
So some reactions, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Looking at this, I'm for this one because I don't see like you're only looking at like an 8 cents difference between BetMGM and Pinnacle.
All right.
And Pinnacle keeps going up. Yeah.
You're forgetting it.
But that's tough though. I mean, we're looking at 9 hours of Circa not moving though. Oh man. Yeah, I'm forgetting this one.
All right.
This is a tough one.
All right, let's see what we got here. Mathwin said he will forget it.
Yes, Robert.
Let's pop back
Yes.
over. Hey, you're not in the clear yet. You're not in the clear yet.
It's all right, Robert. You agreed with me. You're good
That's a
in my
win.
book.
Awesome.
Uh, so your analysis was exactly right, Robert. We see Pinnacle, and it's only a 4 cent move, but there's nothing in this graph that tells me that we're gonna gain anything, any value here, or that like yes, Circa's been stagnant, but the upward trend in Pinnacle just turns me off. Um, Anytime you have a sharp book run away from the other two in the wrong direction, just gives me pause. You're only talking about an under 2% edge here. This is an early movement. 8:40 game. It's 10 a.m. To me, this screams somebody's trying to manipulate Pinnacle for a later limit increase. Um, Part of that is the other two sharp books haven't moved either. So I'm with you here. I'm gonna forget it and just move on. And maybe at a later limit increase, we see Penny get hammered back down, and then I'm willing to grab it. For right now, I'm forgetting this one.
All right, let's see who answered next. So we have Mathwin said forget it. Jay said he'll take
Come
it. So
on,
let's see
Yeah,
what
Jay.
Jay got.
so I'm sorry, Robert. This was a bet I took, and I actually just went and looked, and you're right, man. Pinnacle closed at let me tell you right now, Pinnacle closed at 137. I got the odds at 135. Circa closed at 135, which is even, and Bookmaker closed at 130. The bet won. That's all that matters to me.
Oh my God, get out of here. Robert, we
uh,
were on the right side.
I
Yep.
think
Awesome.
y'all were on the right side. I took this bet just because the odds were fairly low and I was just trusting Circa and Bookmaker over Pinnacle here. But you were right. Pinnacle moved up over MGM's line, so that was a very good read.
All right. Let's see if where we're going from here. So I also agreed.
There
I
we
won't
go.
add too much there. I mean, pretty much it's too early in the morning without any movement. It's actually a little bit of reverse movement on us, so definitely just ignoring it. If the EV is 1.5% or whatever it is, unless it was like 8%, I'm not touching that. So Sigma also said no. So
I did not want
congratulations.
you to win, Robert.
Yeah, we tried. Sigma is basically a robot when he's betting. If he doesn't see the chart go from top left to bottom right, it's basically going to be a no for him. So a little cheat sheet for him. All right, so we got one chart left here.
One left. Are we
You
pushing our
want
luck, Robert?
you want
Oh
two?
yeah, let's go.
All right,
Let's
let's
All
do
go.
it.
right.
This is going to be a tricky one. All right, bet it or forget it. So this is a WNBA game for 9 p.m. It's about 5 p.m. right now. So you got 4 hours till the game starts. This one's on FanDuel. The
I
Aces,
love
first
the
half money
reaction that
line.
just came from the bottom.
The what did?
Never mind. I'm getting
Um,
distracted by somebody's throwing faces at the bottom there making me
uh,
laugh.
so 1% edge. So about as low as we'll flag. But all three sharp books. It's a 1K limit for this first half money line. A lot
All
to look
right.
at.
What are the
Robert,
reactions? Thumbs up, thumbs
Robert,
down. What you think,
are you
Robert?
in VIP?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay. Understand they're playing the Valkyries.
Oh, they
That
are.
means nothing to him.
No, it does. I mean, I made a lot of money from the Valkyries first half so far.
There you go.
Yeah, then now it's tough. Oh, um, yeah. I think I know how Jay's gonna play this one.
Yeah, that's it. You gotta start walking through how we're thinking.
Oh,
I know Jay will play it. Sigma won't play it. I think Dime would grab it, and Math probably wouldn't. So I'm going 50-50 on this. Oh man.
what
Okay.
would you do now?
Okay, I would probably bet it just because Circa, wait, what was I looking at? Oh, Pinnacle is at 214. I mean, I'm getting like, man, almost 40 cents difference. Yeah, I'm probably betting it.
All
No,
right. This is going to be a fun one to talk about. I love the thought process you went through there. All right.
I'm pretty sure he absolutely freaking nailed it on what we answered.
He didn't.
Um, yeah, I think you might have flipped something here, but all right, math ones.
Yep.
He hit mine.
Give you a good little
And it's
take.
and the only reason they're playing the Valkyries. Why would I bet against the Valkyries? No. So when I looked at
Exactly.
this one, I tried really hard to remove my origination hat and just give an answer based on this graph.
Mhm.
So when I look at this graph, we're at max limits here. Even though we're 4 hours before game time here, I don't think first halves get above 1,000. So I'm not worried about limits increasing on us later. When I look at this, I said no because I see both Bookmaker and Pinnacle kind of moving towards Circa. So it gives me confidence that Circa's probably in a pretty good spot here, which is where Bookmaker ends. And I think Pinnacle is actually um, skewing this EV a little bit. I think if you remove Pinnacle from this and you just took Bookmaker and Circa, it's probably doesn't have a positive expected value. The fact that Pinnacle's thrown in there um, is giving us a little bit of an edge here and why the bot is flagging it. But if we believe, and by both Pinnacle and Bookmaker kind of moving towards Circa on their most recent moves, if I just took Circa here, I don't think we have an edge because our edge is only 1%, and you're looking at 15 cents here between the two. So that's kind of where I'm at. Robert, one thing I do want to point out to everybody here is the further away from zero you are, the less valuable 1 cent is. So, like a move from plus 100 to minus 110, a 10-cent move there is typically around like a 5% edge move. A 10% or a 10-cent move from 200 to 190, you're talking about 1 to maybe 1.5%. So you can't look at a 10-cent move at a huge favorite like this the same as a 10-cent move around plus 100, if that makes sense.
Yep. Totally does.
Yep. All right, let's get to some more takes here. So Math wins was a no, and I was a yes. So I'm
There
gonna
we
go
go.
over and explain it here. So a couple things. 1K limits for first half money lines. Jeff already pointed this out, but I did believe that this was the max limits here. 1K does seem low, but for first half money lines, I believe that it's 1K, and Jeff kind of confirmed that. Um, Basically, if you look at every book from open to where they are now, you are seeing a left, top left to bottom right trend where every book is slightly trending down, very small. And like you said, with these higher minus 200 numbers, the movement means a little less, which didn't really factor into it, but now that Math is pointing out is good. But another thing I like to look at is where did one of these books peak? And we saw Bookmaker peak at minus 179 and then get priced down from there. And I'm still getting a better number than the best price that they offered on this line. So if, my thought process is bettors saw this number at 179 on Bookmaker and they bet it down from there, meaning that even 179 might be a good price here, and we're getting it a couple cents less. One other thing is that it's, got a very good win probability of, almost 65%, which you don't see too many EV bets on the favorite. So just intrigues me a little bit more. But yeah, just having all three sharp books in this one with the small edge and that big win probability is kind of what makes me like this bet. But WNBA is just scary all around. All right, so we got the split.
Drum
Jay's
roll.
plays with the
Come
no.
on, Jay.
I'm sorry, man.
You said you were a
It,
sucker for the.
dude, I am, and you are so right. Unless it's WNBA. No,
Ah,
it's this is a very tough chart. Everything y'all are saying is spot on, and I am a sucker for minus odds. This is a small edge, and it's a first half. I honestly just have not. I have not found success with WNBA, so I've kind of just pushed it off to the side right now, and because my
Almost
year
a
is not,
premium.
I'm not up that much this year, so I'm trying to be a little bit more better graphs. This graph is good, but currently it's I don't think it's one that I would take. I think you are in the right spot, but this is still a very small edge to me, and I just haven't found success in WNBA.
All right. So we need Sigma to break the tie here. Let's see where he is. He said he would take it. So we got a dead even
Unbelievable.
split. Robert pretty much guessed it exactly, but he had Jay and Sigma split on who would take it. But yeah, I mean, Sigma briefly talked about it. He just same thing as me. He liked the little bit of downward movement, and he said he's a sucker for good win probabilities like that. For the hell of it, we had a tie, so we took the moderator's point of view and we took them as the tiebreaker. So the moderators voted and they voted yes.
They
So
did?
oh, they switched to no.
Oh, what?
Dude, did you?
I was gonna say, I
But
was looking at that mod chat. I'm pretty sure we had like 6 no's.
anyway, I think we give Robert the 3 weeks because
Oh,
he
awesome.
nailed the no
Appreciate
win
that.
split.
Just for that fake out.
Yeah.
That worked out perfect. That was like pre-recorded already, so it's funny that he went with the yes. But no, that was a good breakdown of that play, like everyone's perspective there. So we'll give him the split since he
For
predicted the split.
absolutely, yeah, for calling the split. I think if you call a split, it should be a right answer.
Ooh,
Absolutely.
we gotta
Yeah.
change the name of the
You either
game.
have to guess, are the owners on yes, no, or did they split?
Damn. We yeah,
That's
that could be
rough.
I
Oh,
like it.
it.
Robert just cheated the system.
Yeah, he did.
For the record, the Aces did win the first half in that game, unfortunately.
And it closed pretty well. I did have
Did
that.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So y'all were on the right side with that bet.
yeah. So all right, that wraps that up. What do we have for questions here?
I just wanted to say thank you, Money Dish and Robert, both of y'all for coming on. It takes a lot to come up here and challenge yourself with these graphs. So thank you for coming up too.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
fishing.
Robert, will you just send me a DM with your email on your WAP account, and I will make sure we get those 3 weeks added to your account.
Yep, will do.
And Money Dish will be
Appreciate it.
taking a week away from you.
Wow.
I'm just
You
kidding.
got to pay to play, huh?
Yeah. All right, what do we got for questions here?
Uh,
I haven't been looking at all, so
Oaks just said you sold.
yeah, he's
I'll.
just he's just
Um,
commenting.
let me see. Is Steve still in here? Oh no, it's okay.
BA wants the extra week for the split call.
That was nice. I did not expect the split
Yeah, he was
call.
like, yeah, that was a good play.
Ooh, I'll have to get us a Shakira chart. Even though we don't chart WNBA, I'll just make one for us.
There you go.
Math. Don't worry.
All right. What do you guys have anything else to talk about? Or should we get
Yeah. Any other last questions in the chat? Otherwise, we'll wrap this one up. That was a good one. That was fun.
What I will say is we do not want to compete with Thursday night football when the regular season starts, so we're probably going to swing this to what are we talking about, Tuesdays in the future?
Yeah, I think we're gonna move to Tuesdays probably within the next month, so we don't have to compete with Thursday night football because I know we'll all be sweating bets on Thursday night football.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. JJS, how do you look at limit decreases? Is it generally a sign of lineup uncertainty? Typically, JJ, with a limit decrease, some surprise news has been released, whether it's an injury, somebody being added to the injury report, somebody not playing. That decrease in limits just allows the book to kind of reset their line if they need to before they increase the limits again.
Yeah, I wanted to say I mostly see, as you said, it's usually to player news. I mainly see decreases closer to game time, actually. So if you see a decrease closer to game time, sometimes I do get questionable. I also wanted to answer Steve's question real quick. He's not in the Discord. I mean, he's not in the call anymore, but he said for MLB, how do you do with one half lines? Talking about the first 5 innings. I always see great value and good charts, but for some reason my returns aren't the best. So actually went ahead and analyzed my F5 bets real quick. So I have a total of 700 bets. 500 is on the F5 total, which is -1%. And then I have 200 bets on F5 run line, which is +7%. And that +7% is double what my loss is. So that goes to what I said in the last office hours is I thought spreads did very well for me, but I was actually down on spreads on the year while totals were up. But I think intriguing that my totals are down, but my spreads are up on F5. I definitely love to hit the first half run lines. Those have been very profitable. So going forwards, those are the ones I'm going to start betting a little heavier into, and I'm going to start following Kelly more strictly with the totals because sometimes I do go over.
Yeah, I was trying to pull my breakdown here on Pickett. How do I view that?
Well, while you're doing that, I'll answer a couple of these too. Yes, Bill, during Maction, I don't know if you're a Mac alum or what's going on, but uh, we'll have some commentary on Maction as we do this. How about that? BA says, "What's your timing for Thursday night football?" I'm assuming BA, you're asking when like best time to bet Thursday night football. Monday, Tuesday usually. Wednesday a little bit. Just pay attention to the limit increases there. But once you get around to Thursday, it's tough. It's a little wonkier because it's the short week that you're looking at. I don't remember. We'll have to kind of look at it this year. I don't remember betting Thursday night football on Sundays very often, because typically one of the teams is, or both of the teams are typically playing on Sunday. So it's
Yeah.
usually kind of a Monday, Tuesday thing.
This is the I pulled up my MLB money line spreads and totals. I'm up 10% ROI on
Yeesh.
3,200 bets, almost
Yeah,
5 million wagered. Holy shit! I don't know if I type in. How do I like get first half? I literally just type
I
in
just typed in first
first.
five.
Might be
Typically,
some first inning stuff though, which probably
I
suck.
think you can sort better on mobile
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I think so too. We'll see what comes up from first, but
I also want to say,
yeah, this
while
is
we're coming into NFL, NFL is a little bit of a
parlays.
different beast. This is the only sport that I was actually down in last year, and I finished the season down. First time not coming away profitable, but the volume on NFL is a lot different than on NBA and MLB. On Sunday, you have to be prepared to have 60, 70 units out if you're really playing.
Yeah, I can't find this, but yeah, NFL's definitely different because you're putting all your money out like a week early, sometimes days early, where you can't cycle through it like you do with most sports. But all
Somebody
right,
explain to me what the hell the Atlanta Dream are doing right now. They're down by 6 to the Sky at halftime.
jeez. Oh,
We
Robert said,
closed, so we're on the -8.5. We closed at like a 15% edge on a spread. It was insane.
Jesus.
It's always the ones that are closing too well that lose.
Yeah, right. All right, let's wrap this thing up here. We're right on the hour mark, so all right, good time in there. All right, appreciate everyone for joining. We'll be back next Thursday. If you guys have questions, make sure you just ask us in the Discord. Don't forget to send your graphs to Math Wins. The earlier you get those in, the better, so we can prep a little bit more. Seems like we've been in a little scramble getting the graphs together the day of recently. So try to get those in early for us, and love to talk about them. So all right, we'll see you guys next time. Good
Thank you,
luck.
everybody.
Later, everybody.